The year is 2026. I am going to walk you through a classified war game simulation. It is rooted in current U.S. military analysis of Middle Eastern threat matrices and the staggering strategic bombing power of our Air Force. April 12th, 0400 hours local. Target: the sprawling naval port of Bandar Abbas, Iran. Right now, the global economy is holding its breath. For weeks, our monitors inside the Pentagon have tracked a terrifying, frankly unprecedented military buildup right along the coast of the Persian Gulf. Looking through high-resolution commercial and military spy satellites, my team of intelligence analysts has uncovered their ultimate master plan. Packed tightly inside that fortified port at Bandar Abbas sits an armada of simply unimaginable scale. 1,000 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats. This is not defensive. This is clear preparation for a massive, highly coordinated invasion of the Strait of Hormuz. Their military doctrine here is simple, and it is brutal. They plan to launch all 1,000 heavily armed, explosive-laden kamikaze boats into that narrow waterway at the exact same moment. As an analyst, the mathematics of this threat are paralyzing. If we allow those 1,000 boats to leave port and hit the open ocean, no naval force on Earth could stop them all. Our carrier strike groups currently operating in the Arabian Sea would simply be mathematically overwhelmed. Their phalanx defensive guns would literally run out of ammunition. Dozens of our warships and international oil supertankers would go down. The global energy market would collapse instantly. The enemy high command, operating from deep underground bunkers, thinks they hold the ultimate geopolitical hostage. They are hours away from giving the launch order, but our admirals and generals in Washington, D.C. have drawn up a completely different plan. Our military does not sit back and wait to be attacked. We refuse to let that enemy swarm deploy out into the open ocean. If they are foolish enough to park 1,000 explosive boats in a single concentrated grid square, our Air Force will simply erase that grid square from the map. We do not send in surgical drone strikes. We do not send expensive stealth fighters to drop tiny glide bombs when we need to physically alter the geography of an entire port. We call upon the grandfather of absolute industrial-scale destruction. 3 Boeing B-52 Stratofortress heavy bombers are immediately scrambled from their forward operating base. Let me show you the morning that the United States military flew 3 Cold War-era bombers right over the Persian Gulf and unleashed 150 tons of gravity bombs to completely vaporize a 1,000-boat armada in exactly 60 seconds. You and I need to understand the earth-shattering violence about to rain down on this enemy naval base. Let us look closely at the mechanical leviathans currently climbing up into the dark morning sky. The B-52H Stratofortress, known by our flight crews simply as the Buff, is an absolute anomaly in modern tactical warfare. The airframe is not sleek. It lacks radar-absorbent stealth coating, and it definitely cannot fly at supersonic speeds. This jet was originally designed in the 1950s. But the B-52 does not need stealth technology because it possesses something much more terrifying. Unmatched, overwhelming, purely apocalyptic payload capacity. These 3 massive 8-engine bombers flying toward the target zone are not carrying highly advanced laser-guided smart weapons. When analyzing a target this massive and clustered tightly together, precision is actually a huge disadvantage. We are going back to our most brutal, raw, and historically terrifying tactical playbook. Heavy carpet bombing. Loaded inside the massive internal bomb bays and strapped to the heavy external wing pylons of our 3 bombers is a truly catastrophic payload. Each B-52 is carrying over 70,000 pounds of Mark 82 unguided gravity bombs. I am talking massive 500-pound forged steel cylinders packed with highly volatile tritonal explosive filler. Combined, our three bombers are bringing over 400 individual 150 tons of high explosives dropped in a single unbroken chain across the Iranian port facility. Before you and I push forward to the combat zone to witness this armada's destruction, let's run a quick tactical quiz on our heavy assets. The B-52 Stratofortress remains the longest-serving heavy bomber in United States military history. Thanks to its flawless airframe and relentless modern electronic upgrades, do you know what exact year the United States Air Force officially plans to retire the B-52? Option A, 2030, B, 2040, or C, 2050? Drop your intel in the comments right now. I will declassify the exact answer for you at the end of this U.S. military analysis. Downrange in the Middle East, the sun is barely creeping up over the port of Bandar Abbas. Hostile naval technicians swarm the docks. They are fueling 1,000 speedboats, loading heavy machine gun belts, and arming explosive kamikaze drones for a massive morning strike. Their early warning air defense grids are active. Powered by Russian S-300 and Bavar 373 radars, they sweep the airspace. They are hunting for low-flying cruise missiles or strike fighters, but this specific threat is not on the deck. It is pushing in from 40,000 feet, straight up in the stratosphere, above cloud cover, entirely invisible to the naked eyes of the enemy sailors below. Our three B-52 heavy bombers hit the initial waypoint of the strike run. These massive airframes hold a highly coordinated, extremely tight echelon formation. Let's look at the geometry. They are positioned mathematically perfectly. Their overlapping blast radii ensure absolutely nothing on the ground survives the shockwave. American EA-18G Growler warfare jets. Operating miles out, they unleash a massive electromagnetic jamming barrage. Hostile radar screens are instantly flooded by blinding white electronic static. Enemy commanders are thrown into absolute chaos, entirely unaware the Grim Reaper just snapped its bomb bay doors open right above their heads. Aboard the lead American bomber, the weapons officer locks onto his glowing digital targeting feed. He rapidly calculates wind velocity, altitude, and the actual airspeed of the heavy bomber. He manually aligns digital crosshairs dead onto the western edge of the enemy naval facility. The final command breaks over the encrypted radio net. Cleared hot, ripple release. What happens next is a terrifying, overwhelming display of raw kinetic weapon physics. The massive internal bomb bay doors of all three Stratofortresses snap open. Over 400 unguided Mark 82 gravity bombs drop from the bellies of the aircraft. They do not just deploy at once in some unorganized, chaotic pile. A computerized intervalometer releases them in a mathematically perfect, rapid-fire drop sequence. These heavy green munitions drop from altitude like a continuous, terrifying waterfall of forged steel. Because these warheads fall from 40,000 feet, they literally break the sound barrier, plummeting toward the deck. Down on the Bandar Abbas docks, the hostile sailors suddenly pick up the audio. A terrifying, high-pitched, shrieking whistle of hundreds of bombs tearing through the lower atmosphere simultaneously. It is the incoming audio of inescapable, absolute tactical doom. These sailors have exactly 3 seconds to look up at the morning sky before everything ends. The initial bomb impacts the far western edge of the naval port facility. That 500-pound warhead detonates, instantly vaporizing a reinforced concrete pier, throwing a massive column of displaced water, earth, and fire hundreds of feet high. A fraction of a second later, the second bomb impacts exactly 50 feet further down the dock. Then the next, and the next. This strategic carpet bombing sequence is a mechanical masterpiece of absolute area devastation. For exactly 60 continuous seconds, the entire operational port of Bandar Abbas is totally engulfed in a rolling, unbroken, apocalyptic wall of hypersaturated orange and yellow fire. You and I see the physics are absolutely brutal. It is not just the intense heat of American munitions wiping out this enemy armada. It is the cascading, catastrophic chain reaction. Those 1,000 speedboats are fully packed with high-octane aviation fuel, rocket-propelled grenades, and heavy volatile explosives. Look at the telemetry. When those American gravity bombs hit the tightly packed fleet, it sparks an unstoppable sympathetic detonation. A single exploding vessel violently touches off the 10 targets immediately surrounding it. Those 10 detonate, igniting 50 more. The entire port transforms into a massive, self-sustaining firestorm. Heavy concrete piers are instantly pulverized into fine dust. Underground ammo bunkers instantly cave under the immense seismic force of the blast's overpressure shockwave. The entire naval facility is permanently neutralized. Every single enemy combatant and technician in the blast radius, gone. Strategically speaking, there is nowhere to hide from the staggering kinetic pressure of a concentrated carpet bombing run. Exactly 60 seconds after the initial impact, the final payload detonates at the eastern edge of the naval base. The 3 B-52 bombers, now thousands of pounds lighter, bank smoothly in the thin upper atmosphere, starting the long flight home. The coastline falls dead silent, except for the harsh crackle of burning debris and boiling seawater. A massive, towering wall of thick black smoke and pulverized concrete spans the entire horizon, completely blotting out the morning sun. When the thick smoke finally clears out hours later, the post-strike damage assessment from American intel satellites is absolute and entirely undeniable. That massive Iranian armada, the 1,000 vessels meant to flood the Strait of Hormuz and hold the global economy hostage, simply ceases to exist. The actual geography of the port is physically altered. What was a highly sophisticated military installation is now just a blackened, smoking crater filled with boiling seawater and melted fiberglass. Their entire naval strike force is permanently eliminated before engines even turned over. Total enemy threat level is down to 0. Global oil markets, panicking for weeks over this massive buildup, stabilize the very second the intel hits. Brent crude plunges by $20 a barrel as news breaks that the United States Air Force completely erased the blockade threat. The B-52 Stratofortress just proved a fundamental, terrifying truth of modern warfare. In an era dominated by stealth fighters and highly complex cyber warfare, there is still absolutely no tactical substitute for the raw, overwhelming, psychological terror of a heavy bomber dumping 150 tons of explosives right onto your headquarters. And for those of you who guessed C in our earlier tactical quiz, you are absolutely spot on. Because the B-52 airframe is incredibly rugged, and we keep upgrading its engines and radar systems. The United States Air Force intends to keep flying the B-52 all the way to 2050. That means this heavy bomber will be executing combat missions for almost a full century. So, what is your tactical assessment of this massive, preemptive carpet bombing operation? Do you believe the B-52 remains the most intimidating strategic weapon in the American arsenal? Drop your tactical insights and your own U.S. military analysis in the comments down below. If you thought this strike was intense, you absolutely will not want to miss our next battle simulation. Next time, we track the ultimate stealth dogfight. What happens when 50 advanced enemy fighters try to ambush a base, and the only defense standing is 2 American F-22 Raptors? It is shaping up to be an absolute masterclass in fifth-generation aerial combat. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. You definitely do not want to miss it.